Let's go to page 6.26. We were still talking about direct variation and inverse variation. Okay, let us just do a little revision. Okay, if you say that y varies directly as x, then we will let y equals kx. Okay, or sometimes we have y is directly proportional to x. Okay, or y, this symbol x, then we will let let y to be kx, where k is not equal to 0. Okay, so this is called direct variation. Okay, this is direct variation, the first type of variation. And then normally we will have some information from the question to put into our equation and then solve the value of k. Okay, and then we will have an complete information of the equation. And then we have the second one is called the inverse variation. Inverse variation. And you will see the keywords like y varies inversely as x, or y is inversely proportional to x, or y, this symbol 1 over x. Then we will let y be equal to k over x, where k is not equal to 0. Okay, that is what we learned in the first part and the second part of this chapter. OK， 得唔得？即係正比例同埋反比例呢一樣嘢。OK， 我哋有 direct 有 inverse 嘅，咁我抄翻過嚟先啊。好啦，但係咧，我哋喺第三部分咧，呢一課第三部分咧，仲有學咗一種咧係撈埋一齊嘅 mix 嘅，我哋叫 joint variation。joint variation。OK，joint variation。咁就係咧，我哋係乘除咁樣嘅。好啦，點樣即係佢會點樣寫咧？譬如佢話咧 ，z varies directly as x and inversely as y。OK， 咁嘅時候咧，我哋就會 let z equals 一個份數 is equal to fraction if the unknown is in direct variation, then we will put on the top, okay, with a k here. We always have a k. And then if it is in the inverse variation, like y here, it will be put in the bottom, okay, where k is not equal to 0. Sometimes it is like this: z varies as x and varies inversely as y. Okay, if it does not mention, if the question does not mention whether it is directly or inversely, then you need to assume that it is directly. Okay， 如果佢冇寫係 directly 定係 inversely 嘅話咧，你就要當佢係 directly 啦，即係擺份子嗰度啦。OK， 咁我哋都係咁做喎。let 個 set 咧就等於而家有 inversely 嘅話就要有份數噶啦 ，inversely 就擺份母嗰度，同埋個 k 擺份子嗰度。OK， 然之後咧佢呢個 x 咧係冇寫到 directly 定係 inversely 嘅，所以我哋就要當佢係 directly， 即係擺份子嗰度啦。OK， 跟住 where k is not equal to 0， 就 OK。呢個咧就係咁啦。第三種啊，就係 joint variation。好啦，今日咧我哋要學嘅咧就係最後一種。呢一種咧係 麻煩少少嘅，開頭嘅時候麻煩少少，但係咧你會開心嘅咧就係咧，我之前講過咧 direct variation 啊、inverse variation、joint variation 咧，其實最麻煩嗰種題種咧、嗰種題型咧就係關於 percentage change 嘅。OK， 一牽涉到 percentage change 嘅話咧就好麻煩㗎啦，係嘛？又要揾啲咩 old value 啊、new value 啊咁樣嘅。OK， 但係而家呢一隻咧，我哋第四種嘅 variation 咧，即係今日要學呢一隻咧。雖然佢開頭列式嘅時候係麻煩少少，但係咧佢一定唔會問一啲關於 percentage change 嘅題目嘅，一定係就咁濕數計數、濕數計未知數咁樣嘅啫。OK， 即係計落咧係會容易少少嘅，得唔得？好啦，呢一種係咩咧？我哋叫做一個 partial variation 啊 ，partial variation。Okay, so what is meant by partial variation? 好啦，即係咧，我哋會分開一 part 嘅。嗱，如果你睇書嘅話咧，我哋一齊嚟睇翻書咯。OK， 書嘅話咧就會係咁樣寫嘅。我哋直頭咧去呢一度啦。呢一版page 6.27， 我哋先睇呢一個 example， 呢三個 example， 我哋睇咗 C 先，睇咗 C 先啊 ，OK， 我抄過嚟先。嗱，你幫我 highlight 咗一啲字眼去啊，我哋睇咗 C 先 ，set partly varies directly as x and partly varies directly as x square。而喺呢度咧係 partly， 即係個 set 咧係分開兩個 part 嘅係嘛？係咪有兩個 partly 呢個字啊？你認住呢個字，呢個就係個 keyword 嚟㗎啦。OK，set partly varies directly as x and partly varies directly as x square. So z will be two parts, divided into two parts. Okay, so we will let the z be a sum of two parts. OK， 我哋會 let 個 set 咧係由第一 part 加第二 part。好啦，第一 part 係咩嚟嘅咧？第一 part 咧，咁你揀低呢個咯喎 ，varies directly as x 係 x 嚟嘅係咪？係 direct variation 嚟嘅，所以咧我哋就會 let 佢做一個嗱，我哋今次咧唔用 k， 嗱留意啦，你咧我哋嚟緊咧就睇下邊一個咧係有聽到書，邊個係冇聽到書咧，就喺呢度咧可以睇到噶啦。OK。書咧就好中意用啲 K1、K2 咁樣嘅，但係呢個就唔方便我哋寫嘅。咁我教嘅話咧，我哋就會用個 A 同埋 B 嘅，即係我哋唔用 K1， 我哋唔用 K2，OK， 唔用呢啲細數字，我用 AX，OK， 第二個咧就梗係用 B 啦，用 X square 咁樣啦。陣間我哋會咁樣做噶啦。第一 part 係 varies directly as x， 如果有一個即係有一個variation 係 directly as x 嘅話咧，我哋係咪會寫 kx 㗎 ？k times x 係嘛？不過今次唔用 k 嘅，我用 a times x。How about the second part? And partly varies directly as x square. Okay, the x square is also in direct variation. Okay, so we are going to use k times x square normally. We will write k times x square, but we do not use k in the partial variation. We use the other unknown, b, x square, b times x square. Can you get this? And then a and b are not equal to 0. Okay? So we will let z be like this. 我哋用 a 同埋 b 去到取代咗書裏邊嗰啲嘅 K1 同埋 K2 嘅。OK，let's go one step upwards. Part B 我要睇下咯喎 ，z partly varies directly as x and partly varies inversely as y. How many parts are there? We have partly third and partly third. So there are 2 parts. So we will let z be the first part plus the second part, like this. Okay, what is the first part? It is varies directly as x. It is also x in direct variation. So we will let the first part be a times x. Okay, and then partly varies inversely as y. The second part is inverse variation and it's about y. So we will write the second part as a fraction and will be normally we will be k over y, but we do not use k in this type of partial variation. We use a and b and then over y because y is in inverse variation. Okay, and a and b are not equal to 0. Sorry. Okay, so this is part B, and then how about part A? 嗱，留意啦 ，part A 咧，請你打粒星落去啊。So please put a star in part A. Part A is a special case. So z is partly constant and partly varies inversely as x. How many parts are there? It's partly. Okay, can you see that there are also 2 parts, right? So we will let z be 1 part plus the second part. But what is the first part? 佢冇話係咩 varies directly 啊，定係 varies inversely 啊？冇喎，呢個係咩字啊？呢個係 constant is a constant， 就咁一個數字，咩數字啊？未知嘅數字。咁我哋咧就咁冇 x 冇 y 就咁俾個 a 佢。Can you get this? If one part is just a constant, then we just give an unknown a or b to this part. Okay? How about the second part? Partly varies inversely as x. So the second part is about x in inverse variation. So the second part should be a fraction, and then the x should be on the bottom. And we have k over x normally, but we do not write k in partial variation. We write b over x, okay? Where a and b are not equal to 0. Okay, so that is like this. 好啦，嗱，如果你有印象嘅話咧，我哋喺即係頭嗰幾 part 咧，第6課頭嗰幾 part 就咁純粹 direct variation、純粹 inverse variation 同埋 mix 埋一齊嗰隻嘅時候咧，其實個分別即係啲題型嘅分別咧係冇分別嘅，啲題型最大嘅分別就係第一句 let 嗰句嘅啫，跟住我哋要做嘢咧就係揾翻個 k 出嚟嘅。係嘛 ？OK， 或者我哋另一種題型嘅話咧，就係揾個 percentage change 咁樣嘅。好啦，而家呢一隻咧第4隻 partial variation 嘅話咧，我哋咧都係最關鍵就係第一句 let 得啱唔啱 ？OK， 你記住 let 呢一句 let 啱咗就已經有1分㗎啦，好抵嘅呢度。OK，marking scheme 係咁寫嘅 ，let 啱咗第一句。就已經有第1分㗎啦 ，OK？ 好啦，但係咧呢一度點解會係即係有啲咩難度？將會有啲咩難度咧？就係佢有2個未知數喎，有 A 有 B。We have 2 unknowns, unknown A, unknown B. So we need to use simultaneous equations to solve for the unknowns A and B. Okay? We need equation 1, equation 2 to solve for the unknowns A and B. Okay, and then we need 2 informations from the question to set up 2 equations to solve for the unknowns A and B. 即係最麻煩嘅咧，就係我哋要由題目嗰度咧係攞咗2個資料出嚟，令到我哋可以列到1式同埋2式。 去到 solve 到呢兩個未知數 A 同埋 B 咁樣樣。OK， 好啦，咁我哋睇一條題目咯喎。咁其實係點樣樣嘅咧？嗱，我一路所講咧就係點解我會話好推介你哋去到做呢一個咧？因為咧係好機械式嘅。OK， 不過咁樣，我想你而家咧即刻同我一齊做一做呢一個 Instant Drill Corner 6.5 先。呢一個 Instant Drill Corner 咧係我冇擺落去 Math App 嗰度嘅。我哋而家一齊做一齊對啊。Instant Drill Corner 6.5。OK， 因為咧我好希望你哋可以列到條啱嘅式，攞咗第1分先。你要數清楚有幾多 part， 然之後每一 part 係屬於 direct 定係 inverse 嘅。OK， 好，我哋一齊嚟咯。Number 1，y is partly constant and partly varies directly as x square。嗱，佢叫你用K1 同埋 K2 嘅，我哋查咗佢先。我唔想你用 K1 同埋 K2， 你用 A 同埋 B 喺度做 ，OK 得唔得？我哋用 A 同埋 B 去做 ，OK 好啦，咁我哋咧咁樣啦，即係我哋要寫 let 嗰句啫，淨係 let 乜嘢啊 ？Y is partly constant and partly varies directly as x. How many parts are there? One partly, and then two partly. So there are two partlies, right? So there will be two parts. And y is the subject, is equal to the sum of two parts. What is the first part? First part is a constant. Okay, no x, no y, no z here. Okay, no variables here. So we just let a constant a for the first part. And then the second part is varies directly as x squared. It is about x squared in direct variation. Okay, so we are going to use kx squared normally, but we're going to use b here times x squared. No fraction for this, right? Because it is direct variation, where a and b are not equal to 0. 嗱，呢一句咧，咩 A 同 B 不等於0呢一句咧，要寫嘅，因為咧 marking scheme 咧，即係我意思係公開試喎 DSE 嘅時候咧，佢有陣時咧，如果你唔寫嘅時候咧，有啲年份咧，佢講到明係要扣你分嘅 ，OK 得唔得？所以你寫咗就穩陣啲，一定有分。唔寫嘅話咧，就要睇下你好唔好彩啦。嗰年個 marking scheme 計唔計分嘅咧？咁樣樣得唔得？所以你寫咗冇壞，得唔得 ？OK， so the answer on the first part is just this. The equation is y equals a plus bx squared, where a and b is not equal to 0. OK， 你可以寫翻個 where 個字嘅，咁樣好似好啲。即係斷開佢嘅話好啲。OK， 好啦 ，Number 2， one part of m is a constant and the other part varies inversely as n。嗱，雖然佢呢個咧就唔係講到明係 partly， 咁你見到咧 one part of m is a constant，the other part varies inversely as n。So which one is the subject first？M 嘅其中一 part 係 constant， 而另一 part 係 varies inversely as n. So obviously, M will be the subject. So we are going to let M equals, right? And then how many parts are there? So obviously, there are two parts. So it will be like this, the sum of two parts. And then the first part is so one part is a constant. First part is just a constant, okay, no variables. So we just give it an A here, okay? And then the other part varies inversely as n. N is in inverse variation. So it should be, the second part should be a fraction, and then it's B over n, okay? Where A and B are not equal to 0. Okay, and then part 3, number 3, y is the sum of two parts. So obviously, we are going to let y equals, and there are two parts. two parts 就係兩部分加埋一齊。OK， 呢度講到明啦。One part varies through and the other part varies through. Okay, the first part is direct variation of x squared. So it will be a times x squared, right? Direct variation, ax squared. And then the other part varies directly as z. It is also in direct variation, but the variable is z. Okay, so it should be just b times z. Okay, where a and b are not equal to 0. Okay. Number 4, y partly varies directly as x and partly varies inversely as z. So we have partly. There are two parts, and the subject is y. We have to let y equals two parts. The first part is directly as x. Okay, so that is in direct variation, a times x. And then the second part is varies inversely as z. So the second part is an inverse variation. It should be a fraction, should be b over z. Okay, and where a and b are not equal to 0. Like this. Okay, and then number 5, r partly varies inversely as p and partly varies directly as square root q. So partly, two parts again. So we will let r is the subject be the sum of two parts. The first part is inversely as p. So we will let the first part to be a over p. Okay, and then the second part is varies directly as square root q. So we will let the second part to be b times square root q. And of course, we write where a and b not equal to 0. It's okay. So that is how we can set up an equation from the question, translating the English sentence in the question to be a mathematical equation that we can do calculation afterwards. Okay. 好，呢度俾你想你俾個反應我。If you understand how to set up an equation, please give me a like or a clap, please. If you are okay on this exercise, setting up an equation, okay, please give me a like or a clap. 如果你呢度咧列式呢部分 OK 嘅，可唔可以俾個 like 或者俾個拍手掌我 ？OK， 如果唔 OK 嘅，可唔可以舉個手，或者係有邊一部分可以想我講多次嘅，咁就喺個 chat room 嗰度同我講，或者開咪講就得噶啦。OK，thank you。有冇舉手 ？OK， 嗱記住啊，我講多次啊，我今日開始咧會叫大家做 class work 嘅，咁你哋需要交翻落去個 Mat app 嗰度。OK， 咁如果我喺一日嘅晏晝落晒堂 ，OK， 放咗學之後，我會 check 一次你哋嘅 class work。咁如果係冇交過嘅話咧，咁我會將你哋嘅 attendance 咧變翻做 absent 嘅。OK， 咁我再打多一次喺個 chat room 嗰度咧，打多一次個 Mat app 個 link 啦，請你哋試一試 log in 先啦。OK， 陣間就會開始做 class work 噶啦。好啦，咁呢度冇問題嘅話咧，咁我哋開始真係睇一啲真係喺考試裏邊會問嘅 example 咯，差唔多噶啦，其實 ，OK， 即係呢啲 example 咧就係嚟緊呢啲 example 就係差唔多係考試嘅 level 嚟噶啦，考試嘅難度嚟噶啦 ，OK， 好睇下啦 ，example 12。Example 12, y is partly constant and partly varies directly as x. OK， 又係咁咯，見到啲熟悉嘅字眼係嘛 ？Partly, we have two partly, so we are going to let y equals two parts. The first part is a constant. So it's just a. And then plus the second part varies directly as x. So it will be just b times x. where A and B are not equal to 0. Okay, where? Where is the where? Here. Okay, this is part A. Sorry. OK， 好啦，嗱，跟住咧未做完啦，當然，咁咧你見到咧，我先就係話啦，我哋有 A 有 B 兩個未知數嘅話咧，我哋就要利用題目嘅兩組嘅數據，去到代翻入去我哋嘅 X 同埋 Y 嗰度，去到列到兩條 equation 出嚟，然之後咧我哋用一式二式嗰啲嘅方法咧，即係 simultaneous equations 嘅方法咧，咁就可以 solve 到個 A 同埋 B 出嚟啦。好啦，咁第一組數據係咩啊？When x is equal to 1, y is equal to 11. Okay, this is the first pair of numbers. So we are just put x equals 1 and y equals 11 into our equation. Our equation is y equals a plus bx. The y becomes 11 and a plus b times 1. But b times 1 is b. So normally I will write the a and b on the left hand side. So a plus b is equal to 11. And then I call this equation 1. Can you get this? So I will check whether there are common factors which can be cancelled first. 如果有 common factor 嘅話咧，我就會係 cancel 咗佢先嘅，咁樣樣得唔得？咁但係呢度冇嘅話咧，咁我就會去 label 咗佢變成一式咁樣啦。How to get the second equation? Of course, from the second pair of numbers. When x is equal to 3, y is equal to 13. So we do this again. Put x equals 3. Y equals 13 into our equation. So 13 is equal to a plus b times 3. And then just write the a and b on the left hand side. So a plus 3b is equal to 13. And then label this to be equation 2. Okay? 好啦，咁你見到咧，我哋點樣去 solve 呢個一式同埋二式啊？你見到大家嘅 A 都係一個 A 嚟㗎，係嘛？就咁一個 A 嚟嘅啫。兩式相減嘅話咧，我哋就可以 cancel 走個 A， 得翻個 B 喺條式嗰度，就係可以計到個 B 噶啦。OK， 記得我哋要兩式相加、兩式相減嘅時候咧，係想 cancel 走其中一個未知數，等我哋可以計到剩翻嗰個未知數。OK， 所以呢度咧 ，I'm going to use equation 2 to minus equation 1。OK， 逐個 term 去減，下邊即係二式嘅 A 減一式嘅 A。就係 cancel 咗啦。How about the B terms? We have 3b, positive 3b, and then minus positive 1b. So that is 2b. And then equal sign. And for the right hand side, so we have 13 minus 11. That is equal to 2. Okay? So what is remaining in the equation is just a b. And then we can solve the value of b from this equation. So b is just equal to 1. Is that okay? And then after finding out the value of one unknown, we can just put it back to either equation 1 or equation 2 to solve for the other unknown. So we will substitute b equals 1 into equation 1. Okay, so we have a plus 1 is equal to 11, right? So we can find that a is equal to 10. Okay? After finding out the values of a and b, we can write down the complete information of our equation. Therefore, y is equal to what? I forget. Should be a plus bx, right? But we have already found that a is 10, b is 1. So it is 10 plus 1x, or just 10 plus x. And that is the answer of part A. Can you get this? 得唔得？頭先我哋列式啦，然之後記住我哋呢啲咁嘅 partial variation partly 嘅話咧，咁我哋就要兩條式嘅。咁你就喺題目裏邊咧揾兩組嘅數據，即係 x 係幾多 ，y 係幾多，咁咪一組啦，係嘛 ？x 係3 y 係13，就係第二組啦。第一組數據代翻入去條式嗰度嘅時候咧，就會列到第一條式。第二組數據代翻入條 equation 嗰度嘅時候咧，就會列到 equation 2出嚟。然之後咧，我哋通常咧兩式相加或者兩式相減嘅話咧，我哋就可以計到噶啦。OK， 好啦，跟住我哋計到呢條式之後咧，咁其實呢條題目已經冇晒秘密㗎啦。佢問你咩都好咧，都係簡單嘅。OK？ Part B，find the value of y when x is equal to 5. Because we have already found the relationship between x and y, so we can easily calculate the value of y when we put x equals 5 into our equation. So y is equal to 10 plus 5. That is equal to 15. That is the answer of part B. Is that okay? 得唔得？就係咁啦。嗱，之後嗰啲所有題目都係同 Part A 嘅格式係一樣嘅。不過有陣時咧，佢會有啲 square 啊、square root 啊，煩你少少嘅啫。但係個框架係一模一樣嘅，得唔得 ？OK， 框架係一模一樣，得唔得？好啦，咁咧到你咯。So now I would like you to do the instant drill number 12. Instant drill number 12. And please remember to submit to the Math app web system. So I give you 4 minutes for this. Okay, last word. ID 12. 4 minutes. And please submit to Math app web system.記得再講一次啊！如果我見唔到你哋，即係我今日黃昏嘅時候見唔到你哋去到交呢啲 classwork 嘅話咧，咁我就會 mark 翻你哋咧係 absent 㗎啦。 Okay, let's check the answers. So one part of y is a constant. So one part is a constant and the other part varies. The other part varies directly as x squared. Okay, so there are two parts. So we will let y be the sum of two parts. The first part is a constant. Constant, that is just an a. And then plus the other part. The other part varies directly as x squared. So it is in direct variation. So it will be b times x squared. Okay, where a and b are not equal to 0. Okay, and then we are going to find two pairs of numbers from the question to set up equation 1 and equation 2. So when x is equal to 2, y is equal to 31. Okay, which means that we need to put x equals 2 and y equals 31 into our equation. So 31 is equal to a plus b times 2 squared. Okay, so that is a plus 4b is equal to 31. And then I call this to be equation 1. And then for the second pair of number, x is equal to 4 and y is equal to 19. Okay, so we put x equals 4, y equals 19 into our equation. So 19 is equal to a plus b times 4 squared. Okay, so we have a plus 16b equals 19 and call this equation 2. Okay, and then notice that the a terms are having exactly the same number. Exactly the same number. Okay. Then we are going to use the subtraction. Okay, so normally we will use the larger number to subtract the smaller number. Okay, so that is use equation 2 to minus equation 1. Down minus up. Okay, so this a minus a will be cancelled. And then we have 16b minus 4b. That is 12b. And then the right hand side is 19 minus 31. So that should be negative 12. Okay, negative 12. So we have successfully removed the unknown a, right? What is remaining in the question is just the unknown b. So we can calculate the value of unknown b now. That is equal to negative 1, right? Okay, after finding the first unknown, we will substitute b equals negative 1 into equation 1. Okay, so we have a plus 4 times negative 1 is equal to 31. And then a minus 4 is 31, so a is 35. Okay, and then we just write down the complete information of the equation. Okay, our original equation is y equals a plus bx squared. So when we have found the a and b, y is equal to a plus bx squared, or just 35 minus x squared. Okay, and that is the answer of part A. And then part B, find the value of y when x is equal to 7. Because we already have the complete information of the equation, so we do not afraid, okay, of finding anything in part B. So when x is equal to 7, just put it into our equation. Y is equal to 35 minus 7 squared. And that should be equal to, that is a pure number. Then you may just use the calculator, and it is negative 14. Okay, so that is part B. Can you get this? 嗱，你記住，就算你之前唔識做嘅話咧，請你記得聽完我解之後咧，抄翻低，然之後 submit 翻上去 Math App 嗰度啊。如果唔係嘅話咧，我就會當你 absent 㗎啦。 Okay. Okay, next one. Oh, sorry, example 12, 13. Example 13. It is given that A partly varies directly as B squared, partly varies inversely as C. Okay, partly. Which one is the subject? 今次係 A 做 subject 喎。Let A equals 咁嘅時候咧，我哋自己就唔可以再用 A 同埋 B 咯。咁我就用 M 同埋 N 啦。OK， partly varies directly as B square. The first part is direct variation, so that should be M times B square. Plus the second part, partly varies inversely as C. Okay, so that will be a fraction, and then we have N over C, where this time is M and N are not equal to 0. Okay, and then we need to find a pair of numbers. Okay, a set of numbers from the question. Okay, the first one, when B is equal to 1, C is equal to 2, A is equal to 7. Okay, this time we have 3 numbers. So put B equals 1, C equals 2, and A equals 7 into our equation. 7 is equal to M times 1 square plus N over 2. Okay, so we have 7 equals M times 1 is M plus N over 2. Normally, we do not like fraction, so we multiply every term by 2 here. 14 is equal to 2M plus N. Okay, or 2M plus N is equal to 14. And call this equation 1. And then, what is the second set of numbers? Is that when B is 2, C is 4, A is 14. Okay, so we have the second set of number. Then we just put them into our equation. B equals 2, C equals 4, and A equals 14. So 14 is equal to M times 2 squared plus N over 4. Okay, 14 is 4 times M plus N over 4. And again, we do not like a fraction, so we multiply every part by 4. So 14 times 4 is 56. And then 4M times 4 is 16M plus N. And then write this on the left-hand side. And label this to be equation 2. Okay, so let me copy here first. Now we have this equation 1 and equation 2. And notice this time the N, both N are plus 1N. So we just use the subtraction of the equation. Okay, so I'm going to use equation 2 minus equation 1 to cancel out the N. Okay, for the M column, we have 16M minus 2M becomes 14M. And then for the N column, they are cancelled. And for the right-hand side, the number column, we have 56 minus 14. That should be equal to 42. And then this is an equation involving M only, and we can find the value of M to be 3. And then we just substitute the value of M into equation 1. 2M, that is 2, 3 plus N is equal to 14. Okay, 6 plus N is 14, which means that N is 14 minus 6, which is equal to 8. Okay, and now we have M and N being found. Therefore, we can write down the complete information. Therefore, A is equal to MB squared becomes 3B squared plus N over C becomes 8 over C. Okay, and that is the answer of part A. And then part B, find the value of C when A is 28 and B is 3. Okay, so we just when A is 28, B is 3. Substitute these two numbers into our equation. Okay, so 28 is equal to 3 times 3 square plus 8 over c. Okay, 要慢慢計啊。28, 3 times 3 square is a pure number, so you may use the calculator. It's 27 plus 8 over c. 個27就可以減過左手邊啊。28 minus 27 is 1. Okay, 8 over c. And then we don't like fraction, but right-hand side is just one single fraction. Then we may just multiply the c to the left-hand side. 1 times c is c. And then what is remaining on the right is just 8. Okay? And that is the answer of part B. Is that okay? All right.先。好嗱，剩翻少少時間，咁我諗咧，我諗我聽日先至再繼續做啦。咁今日咧其實只係做咗一題嘅 classwork 嘅啫。咁我記住 upload 翻上去。如果你有啲咩 upload 上面嘅問題嘅，請你話翻俾我聽，一係就 WhatsApp 我，一係就 email 俾我咁樣樣。OK， 但係最好唔好 WhatsApp 你哋嘅 classwork 俾我。OK， 除非你真係 upload 唔到，你話咗俾我聽先。OK， 因為我之後咧都會用 Math App 嚟到去幫你哋儲低呢啲嘅classwork 同埋 homework 噶啦。OK。All right, so that's the end. Do you have any problems of this lesson? If no, then that is the end of this lesson and you may take a break, okay? So you may leave now. Goodbye.
Mr. Low.
Yes.
I still can't seem to submit my classwork on the website.
Let me see. Yes, I didn't see your classwork from the Math app. What is the problem?
Yeah. After I submit it, when I hit the button submit, it doesn't submit.
It just hanging here, hanging on
Yeah.
the page.
Yeah.
Are you submitting photo or PDF files?
Photo.
Photo. Yes, it should be photo. Did you successfully submit before?
No, I just you told me to send it by Gmail.
Okay. So if the problem is not solved, then you just send me through email address. It's also okay. Do you still keep my email address?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So you just submit to me through email. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, bye.